It's finally happening. We've all felt the pull of the cold full moon, and now its gateway is officially unlocked. This is the cold supermoon I've been hinting at for weeks. The one I kept circling back to. The one many of you sensed long before it appeared. It doesn't matter if you can see it in your sky yet. The energy has already arrived. The portal is active. And no, I wasn't being dramatic. There was a reason I kept pointing towards this moment. You're about to understand why. If you're here listening right now, you're ahead of the curve, truly. People across the world have been awakening quicker than expected, but you're ahead of the rising tide. You've been tuned in longer than you realize. Your spiritual sensitivity didn't just begin this year. And trust me, the universe pays attention to the ones who show up before everyone else. When a cosmic doorway like this opens, most people hurry past without noticing. But those who arrive early, they receive the clearest insights, the strongest push forward, the first wave of transformation. And this cold supermoon carries a level of power most won't even recognize. This moon highlights the ones who were overlooked, underestimated, or pushed aside throughout the year. The ones who stayed gentle, stayed consistent, stayed faithful, even when life didn't mirror back the same kindness. This moon shines directly on you. If you've been dismissed or undervalued, this moon doesn't just witness your pain, it honors your resilience. Some people glow only when life is easy, but you kept glowing in the dark. That's why this energy lands on you differently. This supermoon acts like silent justice. It doesn't hand out blessings as payment. It gives them as recognition. The universe remembers every time you chose humility over ego, compassion over anger, integrity over shortcuts. Under this moon, all of that becomes spiritual currency. You might notice small signs first, unexpected support, faster alignments, people finally appreciating your value. These aren't accidents. This moon magnifies the inner work you've been doing and begins translating it into outer change. And what rises in you won't look flashy or loud. It will simply be undeniable. This full supermoon isn't just closing the chapter of 2025. It's letting the light of 2026 spill in early. Think of it as an early version of next year, you tapping you on the shoulder, saying, "Look closely. This is the direction you're heading." This moon creates what I call a future self echo. Clarity hits differently. Your energy sharpens. Small interactions reveal big truth. The way people respond to you, the opportunities dropping into your path, the sudden motivation. These are clues about the version of yourself you're stepping into next year. Your future self isn't somewhere far away. They're already speaking through the choices you're making. And this moon just turns up the volume. For the next few days, watch what grows instead of what falls apart. Pay attention to what feels effortless, exciting, strangely aligned, even if you can't explain it. These are snapshots of your 2026 identity, clearer, more grounded, more aligned with your true path. You're not just watching a cycle end. You're standing inside the doorway of a new one. And from December 4th through December 7th, the energy around you begins behaving in a way that isn't normal, not chaotic, just shifted. You may feel it through timing. Things that usually drag suddenly happen instantly, or simple tasks delay with no explanation. People may act unusually emotional, oddly direct, strangely honest, or unexpectedly quiet. Conversations take unexpected turns. Decisions feel heavier, more meaningful. Events feel like they carry extra weight, even if they look small on the surface. This always happens during strong energetic gateways, but the cold supermoon intensifies it. You might catch synchronicity stacking, repeating symbols, familiar phrases from different people, sudden impulses to take actions you've avoided for months, or truths you can no longer pretend not to see. Some of you will feel like the universe is gently poking you, making sure you're awake. Collectively, the world often shifts during energies like this, not through chaos, but through ripples. A surprising announcement, a scientific discovery, an unexpected turn in global mood, something unfolding that wasn't predicted. And personally, the next 72 hours may feel like your life is running a quiet upgrade in the background. A connection might reach out, a lingering situation might resolve, a new opportunity may appear out of nowhere, or it might be a calm period, which is just as powerful. Silence often signals the deepest spiritual adjustments. Not everyone will feel fireworks. That doesn't mean nothing is happening. Big transformations rarely shout. Sometimes they slip in, disguised as ordinary days. These next 3 days are like the universe holding a breath, creating space for something new to slide into place. And that leads us to the deeper purpose of the cold moon. Most people assume cold moon means emotional numbness, but winter moons don't freeze you. They fortify you. They create structure, strength, inner clarity shaped by everything you've endured. This moon carries a rare energy, not overwhelming, not chaotic, but steadying. It gives your emotions form without hardening your heart. You may feel yourself becoming more grounded. Scenarios that normally overwhelm you suddenly feel manageable. Problems seem easier to organize, not because life changed, but because you did. This moon strengthens your internal core, the part of you that remains stable even when everything around you moves. It isn't dramatic. It's quiet, collected, refined. You might feel more confident making choices, more secure in your intuition, more aware of what truly matters. Winter moons build strength gently. They create backbone without bitterness, focus without force. The cold moon doesn't want you to be hardened. It wants you to be unshakable. Real strength isn't being emotionless. It's staying centered while the world moves around you. This supermoon is forging spiritual steel within you, restoring order where there used to be chaos. Not by toughening your heart, but by clearing the noise so your energy stops scattering in every direction. This matters more than you think, because 2026 isn't going to be slow. It's going to bring surges, sudden openings, rapid opportunities. To handle that pace, you need emotional stability, grounded intuition, and a steady inner compass. This moon is laying that foundation. It's not freezing your energy, it's crystallizing it. And once you understand that, the next layer becomes clearer. For too long, spirituality has been treated like a soft decoration. Something pretty, gentle, aesthetic. People talk about alignment and healing, but avoid the part where courage is necessary. The cold supermoon slices through that fluff. It signals the end of spiritual autopilot and the beginning of true intentionality. It doesn't care about how peaceful your room looks or how many inspirational quotes you saved. What it does care about is whether you're willing to act in alignment with your potential, even when it's uncomfortable, whether you're ready to release what drains you, whether you're willing to choose the life you're meant for instead of the one that's convenient. Awareness without action is useless. This moon forces that truth to the surface. Over the next days, you may feel a sudden inability to tolerate what you once accepted, draining people, outdated responsibilities, habits that don't match who you're becoming. And that's where your transformation begins. All of it starts becoming impossible to overlook. Not because the universe is trying to teach you a harsh lesson, but because it's finally illuminating the path you were meant to walk. Clarity only appears when the noise around you starts to fall away. This cold supermoon calls for courage. Not recklessness, not dramatic leaps, just consistent loyalty to your own spirit. It's choosing yourself without guilt. It's saying no without apologizing. It's recognizing that spiritual growth isn't only about calmness. Sometimes it's about accuracy, discernment, and truth. If your so-called peace requires you to abandon your purpose, then it's not peace, it's avoidance. This moon draws a clear line between those who drift and those who rise. Anyone who's been coasting through their spiritual journey will feel the force of 2026 pushing them in directions they didn't consciously choose. But the ones stepping into their inner authority now, they'll move through the next year with direction, power, and momentum. This moon is calling forward the spiritual warriors, the ones who stand up without waiting for permission, who trust their intuition without needing validation, who recognize the moment when destiny taps them on the shoulder. And even though the message is intense, there's a deep sense of empowerment woven into it. Everything this moon asks of you is something it's preparing to multiply threefold in return. There is something sacred about this final full supermoon of the year, not in a distant, mystical way, in an ancient, grounding way. It carries the same energy our ancestors instinctively felt. The last moon of the year doesn't just close a chapter, it sets the frequency for the year ahead. And this one is imprinting its energy into 2026 before we even reach it. That's why your words carry weight right now. What you speak under this moon isn't just expression, it's direction. Every sentence becomes magnetic. Intentions that would normally fade start landing with force. So speak like the universe is listening, because right now, it absolutely is. This is a window for declarations, not doubts. This isn't the moment for uncertain hopes or vague wishes. Under this moon, clarity acts like fire. It ignites movement. Speak certainty, and opportunities will rearrange themselves to meet you. Speak commitment, and doors will open where barriers once stood. Even writing a single intention, a vision, a dream, a new direction, sends a ripple into the coming year that strengthens every time your eyes return to it. Many people say the moon reflects intention, but during a supermoon, it becomes an amplifier. It takes your words and sends them into the unseen with momentum. That's why this moment feels ritualistic. Even if you don't light a candle or perform a ceremony, you are the ritual. Your thoughts, your choices, your voice, they're all part of it. And here's the wild part. You don't even have to speak aloud. Your unspoken thoughts are louder than usual. A simple idea you've been afraid to claim may suddenly start unfolding just because you finally dared to imagine it. Under a moon like this, the line between envisioning and attracting becomes almost invisible. Think of the moon as a mouth. What do you want it to proclaim on your behalf? Because whatever you plant in this window will not disappear. It will travel with you, grow with you, and form the foundation of 2026 in ways you'll recognize months from now. Most people won't feel the shift of 2026 until January, when the holidays fade, routines restart, and the world collectively wakes up again. That's when the average person will suddenly feel more intuitive, more restless, more aware. Their awakening starts later. But you? If you're listening to this right now, you're not part of that group. You're already inside the shift. You woke up early. And people who wake up early do so for a reason. This moon isn't waiting for the calendar to flip. It's activating the first wave. The ones meant to enter the new year ready, not confused, grounded, not overwhelmed, aligned, not scrambling. Early awakening happens to souls who've been quietly building spiritual strength without realizing it. Maybe you've been questioning things more deeply. Maybe your intuition has been louder. Maybe your inner compass has been sharper. Maybe you've sensed something approaching, something big, even if you couldn't put words to it. That wasn't coincidence. That was the energy reaching you before it reached others. If you feel different this week, it's not because you're behind. It's because you were chosen ahead of schedule. And when you're chosen early, you experience the year differently. You notice opportunities others miss. You understand your own patterns faster. You feel the direction of the year long before it unfolds. That's a massive advantage, emotionally, spiritually, and practically. Because clarity will always be the strongest head start. But early awakening also comes with responsibility. It asks you to trust your intuition even when others don't see what you see, to move when others hesitate, to choose what feels aligned instead of waiting for external permission. If this moon pulled you here, if something in your spirit feels alert, it's because you were meant to receive this frequency first. While the world wakes up in January, you've already started. You're not catching up, you're leading the wave. And what this moon activates next is the most beautiful part of all. This cold supermoon reaches back in time and brings forward a version of you that you haven't touched in years. Your inner child, not the wounded one, the vibrant one, the creative, curious, fearless one, the you who felt joy for no reason, who explored without shame, who expressed without worry. They're not returning as a memory, they're returning as fuel. This moon shines directly on your joy. You might feel sudden bursts of inspiration, the urge to create, to explore, to dance, to play, to try something purely because it lights you up. You might laugh more easily, feel lighter than usual, or find yourself reconnecting with simple pleasures. That's not immaturity, that's inner reunion. For the first time, your inner child is allowed to speak, and your adult self is finally listening. It creates a unique kind of healing. The adult brings wisdom and boundaries. The child brings imagination and soul. Together, they create wholeness. Life stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like expression. You stop suppressing. You start expanding. Under this moon, you might remember an old dream you abandoned, a passion you stuffed away, a creative spark you promised to come back to someday, not because you're moving backward, but because your soul wants you complete. This cold supermoon is stitching together every version of you, past, present, and future, so you can step into 2026 aligned, inspired, and fully alive. And that leads to the next revelation. There's something you've been circling for years, a fascination you can't shake, a subject you secretly study, a skill you've practiced quietly, a passion you've avoided because it didn't match who others expected you to be. Every time you walked away, it called you back. This moon isn't asking why you love it, it's asking why you've denied it. Because now, that hidden passion is gaining structure. It's gaining direction. It's gaining purpose. And this is only the beginning. That thing you've been obsessed with for as long as you can remember. The one interest that never faded, even when everything else in your life changed. It wasn't random. It was part of your assignment all along. This moon pulls everything into focus. It connects dots you didn't even realize were part of the same picture. Suddenly, something clicks. You start sensing how that little passion you hid from the world might actually be tied to your future path. Not forcefully, but naturally, almost inevitably. The universe doesn't let certain passions survive every phase of your life by accident. The things that stay with you through every transformation, every setback, every reinvention. Those are threads of your purpose. This supermoon activates a deeper layer of awareness, where the private interests you once dismissed begin to show their value, their direction, their potential. You may feel pulled toward old dreams, unfinished ideas, forgotten projects, or late-night curiosities that once lit you up for no logical reason. What felt random before now feels aligned. And here's the wild part. You're about to notice opportunities, conversations, synchronicities, or spontaneous sparks of creativity that all orbit around this interest. It's like life is quietly rearranging itself to make room for what matters. That buried passion isn't just resurfacing, it's returning with answers, with clarity, with purpose, and the truth is simple. This moon wants you to receive, not reinvent. You don't need to wipe the slate clean or become someone else. You're not transforming into a new person. You're becoming the complete version of who you were always meant to be. This cold supermoon is the final full moon of 2025, the real closing curtain of the year. And because of that, its energy is different, heavier, more direct, more decisive. This isn't symbolic. This isn't poetic. This is literal. After this moon, the emotional cycles of 2025 end. There are no more lunar checkpoints, no more spiritual tests to cycle through. This is the last threshold before you step into a year that has been building energetically since mid-2025. And this moon functions almost like a guardian at the doorway of your next timeline. What you carry through it shapes the next 12 months. This moon doesn't beg you to let go. It doesn't coax you to heal. It simply reveals what no longer fits. It hands you the truth without sugarcoating it. You'll feel it as soon as you think about certain people, habits, patterns, or versions of yourself. There's a weight there, not because they're harmful, but because their chapter is complete. Their role in your life is fulfilled, even if your heart is still attached. And interestingly, this heaviness rarely feels like sadness. It shows up as boredom, irritation, emotional flatness, or sudden disinterest. That's your energy saying, this cannot go with you into who you're becoming. And once you feel that, the purpose of this moon becomes clear. This moon is a gate, and a gate has one job: to decide what stays and what leaves. If you resist the truth now, that resistance becomes its own choice. If you carry something into 2026 that wasn't meant to come along, it will feel louder, heavier, and harder to ignore. Not as punishment, but because next year's energy is fast, sharp, accelerating, and outdated weight creates friction. What you cling to out of fear becomes an anchor. What you outgrew becomes drag. But here's what almost no one realizes. Letting go under this moon doesn't need drama. You don't need to cry, journal, meditate, or force a moment of closure. Sometimes release is a quiet decision, a simple inner shift where you think, I'm finished with this. And instantly, your system adjusts. This moon supports that clean, clear, decisive kind of release. And the opposite is also true. Anything you choose to embrace during this window multiplies. Confidence stabilizes. Motivation strengthens. Opportunities begin forming behind the scenes. Your identity starts shaping into something truer. The moment you choose a direction, the universe accelerates it. Fast. This cold supermoon isn't just a release point, it's an amplifier. If you made it to the end, thank you for your presence. If the message resonated, consider subscribing for more. Your support means everything. Share your thoughts or experiences below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and stay aligned.